Are you feeling overwhelmed and out of control in your life? Do you struggle to stay focused and motivated? If these questions resonate with you, rest assured that you are not alone. In our fast-paced, constantly changing world, many of us feel like we're at the mercy of our thoughts and emotions. Our minds are often filled with negative self-talk, anxiety and fear, which can hold us back and prevent us from reaching our full potential. This is a common struggle, but it doesn't have to be this way. What if we told you that there's a philosophy that can help you take control of your mind and emotions and live a happier, more fulfilling life? Yes, you heard that right. This philosophy is called Stoicism. Originating from ancient Greece, Stoicism is a school of thought that has endured through the centuries, and for good reason. It offers practical wisdom and strategies to help us navigate the ups and downs of life. The Stoics believed that by mastering our thoughts and emotions, we can lead lives of tranquility, effectiveness and virtue. So how does Stoicism help us take control of our minds and emotions? It teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. It encourages us to practice mindfulness, gratitude and acceptance, and to distinguish between our thoughts and reality. It reminds us that our perceptions, not external events, determine our happiness. By embracing Stoic principles, we can learn to face life's challenges with grace and resilience. We can cultivate a positive mindset, become more resilient, and experience less stress and anxiety. We can become the architects of our own minds instead of being passive victims of our thoughts and emotions. But Stoicism is not a quick fix. It's a lifelong journey of self-improvement and personal growth. It requires dedication, practice and patience, but the rewards are well worth the effort. The problem is that we often don't realize we have the power to change our mindset and take control of our thoughts and emotions. Today, let's start to change that. Let's embark on this journey together and discover the power of Stoicism. So, what exactly is this Stoic philosophy we're talking about? Well, Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy that teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions. It doesn't mean suppressing your feelings, but rather understanding and managing them to lead a more tranquil life. At the heart of Stoicism lies the principle of control. Stoics believed that we do not have control over everything in our lives, but we do have control over how we respond. We can't control the weather, the traffic, or the actions of others, but we can control our reactions to these events. This philosophy encourages us to focus our energy on the things we can change and accept the things we can't. Another key principle of Stoicism is mindfulness. By being fully present in the moment, we can observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This allows us to respond to situations with clarity and composure rather than reacting impulsively. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in Stoicism. By appreciating what we have rather than longing for what we don't, we can cultivate a sense of contentment and reduce feelings of dissatisfaction and envy. Understanding the difference between our thoughts and reality is another important aspect of Stoicism. Our thoughts are just that, thoughts. They're not facts, they're not reality. They're simply our interpretation of reality. By recognizing this, we can challenge negative thoughts and replace them with more positive, constructive ones. Finally, Stoicism promotes acceptance. It encourages us to accept the reality of our situation rather than resisting it or wishing it were different. This doesn't mean giving up or settling, but rather acknowledging the reality of our circumstances and making the best of them. Stoicism teaches us to adjust our aim based on changing circumstances, just like an archer. It empowers us to take control of our thoughts and emotions rather than letting them control us. By incorporating these principles into our lives, we can cultivate a more positive, resilient, and fulfilling mindset. One of the key principles of Stoicism, as we've touched upon earlier, is acceptance. But what does acceptance truly mean in the context of Stoicism? It doesn't mean resigning oneself to fate or passively accepting whatever comes our way without making any effort to improve or change. No, the Stoic form of acceptance is more about understanding and acknowledging that there are things in our lives that we simply cannot control. It's about consciously differentiating between what's in our power to change and what isn't, and focusing our energy and efforts on the former. For instance, let's consider a simple, real-life example. Imagine you're on your way to work and suddenly it starts raining. You look in your bag and realize that you've forgotten your umbrella. Now, you could get upset, curse the weather, and let this minor inconvenience ruin your day. Or you could take the Stoic approach. You could accept the fact that you can't control the weather, that you forgot your umbrella, and that you're going to get wet. Instead of letting this dampen your spirits, you could choose to enjoy the rain, to appreciate the freshness it brings, and to take this unexpected change in your day as an opportunity to adapt and improvise. This is the power of Stoic acceptance. It's about reframing our perspective to view situations not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, learning, and experience. It's about understanding that the world won't always conform to our expectations, and that's okay. It's about realizing that we can't control everything around us, but we can control our reactions to them. By accepting things as they are instead of how we wish they would be, we free ourselves from unnecessary frustration, disappointment, and stress. We become more adaptable, more resilient, and ultimately more content. This is the Stoic art of acceptance. And in the following scenes, we'll delve deeper into how we can apply this principle, along with other Stoic principles, in our everyday lives to cultivate a more tranquil, fulfilling, and resilient mindset. Another crucial aspect of Stoicism that we need to understand is the principle of objectivity. The Stoics believed in seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. This principle, like the art of acceptance, is about understanding our limitations, but more importantly, it's about clear perception of reality. For instance, let's say you've been aiming for a particular job. You've prepared for it, given your best shot at the interview, but unfortunately you didn't get selected. A typical response might be to feel disappointed, dejected, or even bitter. You might start questioning your abilities or blaming the interviewer, but a Stoic practicing the principle of objectivity would take a different approach. Instead of succumbing to negative emotions, you could objectively analyze the situation. Maybe there were areas in your preparation that were lacking. Perhaps your presentation skills needed a bit of polishing. Or it could be that there was another candidate just a little bit more qualified or experienced than you. By viewing the situation objectively, you can turn this setback into an opportunity for self-improvement. Instead of dwelling on the disappointment, you can focus on the aspects you can control, like improving your skills, gaining more experience, or refining your interview techniques. Objectivity, thus, allows us to make better decisions and improve ourselves. It helps us to separate our emotions from the facts, enabling us to deal with situations in a more balanced and rational way. By being objective, we not only enhance our understanding of the world around us, but we also empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with greater resilience and poise. As we delve deeper into the world of Stoicism, let's discuss another crucial principle: detachment. Often mistaken for indifference or apathy, Stoic detachment is a powerful tool that can help us maintain our peace and composure, regardless of the circumstances. It's about not letting our emotions dictate our actions, but instead responding with reason and calmness. Let's consider a typical scenario. Suppose someone insults you. The immediate reaction might be anger or resentment. You might feel an urge to retaliate, to respond with a similar insult, to allow your emotions to take control, but as a Stoic practicing detachment, you would approach this situation differently. Instead of reacting impulsively, you would detach yourself from the situation and the insult. You would understand that the insult is not a reflection of you, but of the person who uttered it. You would realize that reacting angrily would only escalate the situation and disturb your peace of mind. Instead, you would choose to respond calmly, or perhaps not respond at all. By practicing detachment, we can maintain our inner tranquility and not let external factors disturb us. It's about understanding that we have control over our reactions, even when we don't have control over the situation. It's about choosing peace over conflict, serenity over agitation. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where your emotions threaten to take control, remember the principle of detachment. Take a step back, breathe, and choose to respond with calmness and composure. Remember, your peace of mind is in your hands. Our exploration of Stoicism wouldn't be complete without discussing a key principle: resilience. Stoic resilience is about understanding the inevitability of life's ups and downs, but more importantly, it's about how we bounce back from adversity and never giving up. It's about maintaining our composure even in the face of setbacks and continuing to move forward. Let's bring this principle to life with a real-world scenario. Imagine you've been studying hard for an important exam, yet despite your best efforts, you don't pass. A natural response might be to feel defeated, to question your abilities, or even to up. However, a Stoic would approach this differently. Instead of allowing failure to be a roadblock, they would see it as a learning experience, an opportunity for growth. They would examine where they went wrong, make necessary adjustments, and try again. They would not allow this setback to shake their confidence or determination. Instead, they would use this experience to fuel their resolve, strive harder. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, the ability to face challenges, to learn from them, and to never allow them to deter us from our path. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." So the next time you face a setback, remember the principle of Stoic resilience. Use it as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity for growth, and by being resilient, can overcome any challenges that come our way. And now let's start a dialogue. If you connect with the principles of Stoicism covered in this chapter, or if you feel intrigued by the concept of resilient Stoic, don't hesitate to drop a comment below. Let's uncover the power of Stoicism together. As we continue our journey through Stoicism, let's delve into another crucial principle: self-discipline. Stoic self-discipline is about taking control of our actions, our impulses, and our reactions. It's about making conscious choices that align with our goals and values, even when faced with temptations or distractions. Imagine you're on a mission to lose weight. You're doing well, sticking to your diet and exercise regimen, but then you're faced with a temptation. A delicious-looking piece of cake at a friend's birthday party. A part of you wants to give in, to enjoy the cake, but the Stoic in you exercises self-discipline. You remind yourself of your goal, your commitment to your health, and you choose to stick to your diet. This isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's about making a choice that aligns with your long-term goals rather than giving in to a short-term pleasure. It's about understanding that every action we take brings us either closer to or further from our goals. Stoic self-discipline is not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about being mindful of our actions and making choices that serve our greater good. By practicing self-discipline, we can stay focused on our path, achieve our goals, and live a more fulfilling and purposeful life. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not a master of himself." So, the next time you're faced with a temptation or distraction, remember the principle of Stoic self-discipline. Use it as a tool to guide your actions and bring you closer to your goals. To illustrate this point, consider the example of a Stoic archer. Picture an archer, bow in hand, arrow nocked, eyeing the target in the distance. The archer's goal is, of course, to hit the target. However, the Stoic archer knows that many factors are beyond their control. The wind may gust, the target could move, there might be a sudden distraction. These are elements that the archer cannot command. The Stoic archer, wise and practiced, understands this. Instead of obsessing over the goal, hitting the target, the archer focuses on the process. The process involves everything within their control: the stance, the pull of the bowstring, the aim, and the release of the arrow. These are the things that the archer can perfect, can master. The flight of the arrow and where it lands ultimately are not entirely within the archer's control. This is not to say that the Stoic archer abandons the goal of hitting the target. On the contrary, the archer knows that by focusing on the process, the elements within their control, they increase their chances of hitting the target. But should the arrow miss, the Stoic archer does not despair. Instead, they go back to their process, adjust their stance, refine their aim, and try again, unswayed by the previous outcome. This is Stoicism in action. Life, like archery, is filled with elements we cannot control. We can't command the wind or stop the target from moving. We can't prevent every distraction. But what we can control is our process, our actions, our responses, our mindset. By focusing on these elements, we cultivate resilience. We become more adaptable, more prepared for whatever life throws our way. And just like the Stoic archer, we understand that sometimes we will miss the target. But instead of becoming disheartened, we return to our process, adjust and try again. We recognize that success is not always about hitting the target, but about the journey, the practice, and the continual striving towards our goals. By focusing on the process rather than the outcome, we can stay grounded and focused, even in the face of adversity. But how do we incorporate Stoic principles into our daily life? Here are some practical tips. Firstly, practice mindfulness. This could be through meditation or other mindfulness practices. By focusing on the present moment, we can become more aware of our thoughts and emotions and learn to respond to them in a more balanced and rational way. Next, focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. This might seem simple, but it's one of the most powerful principles of Stoicism. By focusing our energy and attention on the things within our control, such as our own thoughts and actions, we can reduce stress and increase our sense of control and satisfaction in life. Another tip is to practice gratitude. Each day, reflect on the things you're thankful for. This could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning or a kind word from a friend. By cultivating gratitude, we can shift our focus from what's wrong in our lives to what's right, fostering a more positive and content mindset. Cultivate a growth mindset. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth and learning rather than as obstacles or threats. Remember, it's not failure if you learn something from it. By adopting this mindset, we can become more resilient and adaptable and less afraid of change and uncertainty. Practice acceptance. Acknowledge reality as it is without judgment or resistance. Let go of unrealistic expectations and accept things as they are, not as we wish them to be. This doesn't mean giving up or being passive, but rather it means being at peace with what is, while still striving to improve and grow. Surround yourself with positive influences and avoid negative ones. The people and environments you surround yourself with can greatly influence your mindset and behavior. Choose to be around those who uplift and inspire you, and distance yourself from those who bring you down. Lastly, stay present. Avoid getting caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. Focus on the task at hand and take one step at a time. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. By practicing these principles daily, you can cultivate a more positive and resilient mindset. If you're feeling overwhelmed or out of control in your life, give Stoicism a try. We've walked through the power of Stoicism, unpacked its essence, shared an illustrative example, and offered practical tips to embrace it. Now it's your turn to take the reins. Imagine starting each day with a sense of calm, a clear mind, a heart full of gratitude. Imagine weathering life's storms with grace and resilience, focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Picture yourself cultivating a growth mindset, embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and evolve. That's the promise of Stoicism. It's not a quick fix or a magic bullet. It's a philosophy, a way of life that empowers you to take control of your mind, to shape your thoughts and emotions rather than being shaped by them. So, why not give it a try? You don't need any special equipment or a hefty investment. All you need is an open mind and a willingness to explore. Start with a few minutes of mindfulness each day. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Practice gratitude and acceptance. Cultivate a growth mindset. Surround yourself with positivity. And remember, this isn't a solitary journey. We're here with you every step of the way. Share your experiences, your questions, your insights. We're all learners in this grand adventure of life, and there's so much we can learn from one another, so let's engage. If this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and drop a comment below. What aspect of Stoicism resonates with you the most? How do you plan to incorporate it into your daily life? And if you want to keep exploring, learning, growing, hit that subscribe button. We've got a treasure trove of content lined up, and we're excited to share it with you. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one. Until next time, remember, the power to change your life is in your hands.